in all these stories, right? That do you have any good examples of like people who were reluctant? Because you mentioned earlier Simba, right? He's a better example of this.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, right? He never was reluctant. He wanted to be king. He wanted to be king so bad, he gave a song, dude.
Can't wait to be king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wasn't reluctant at all, right?
Yep.
Like his difference was that like he felt guilt. Because he felt that like, my father died because of me. I was the one doing this and this and that. I was the one who put that chick lion in danger when he went to the graveyard or whatever, right? Like,
Nala.
so he got like all this guilt, self-doubt instilled in him because of the events that took place. And then Scar like pretty much pushed him out, right? So he was pushed out. The reluctancy part happened later because then he gets that whole life of like, oh, Hakuna Matata, everything's cool, everything's peachy, right? Then he was living like a real king, quote unquote, because he could do whatever he wanted without consequence. There was no consequence, right? Until like later, you said Nala comes back. Whoa, wait a second, Simba, right? Like that whole scene and whatever. And
well, his uncle had taken over.
Oh yeah, that was the point, right?
Yeah, his uncle had taken over.
So, so, it comes back, but he says, "You gotta come back. You are the true king. This and that, and you know you are." And he knows he is, but he doesn't want to, right? He doesn't care. That's his point. He doesn't care. Doesn't want to. Why is he reluctant though? Like why? I don't know. He goes through this whole arc, doesn't he?
Yeah, like his guilt, he thought he wasn't worthy of like leading the people because he, in his mind, he felt responsible for his dad's death. Like he was like, you know what? I killed the previous king. Like I can't go back there, knowing what I did. So like he just decided to live in exile by himself. Like he exiled himself in that movie.
What do you guys think changed his heart though?
Well, partially the fact that like Nala came out and to find him for help.
Can't be, right? Because she did him and he's like, no.
Well, partly, like I said. And then she told him how bad the situation was with his uncle Scar. Like how he was mistreating the place.
You still said no.
Then that's when Mufasa came from the clouds and told him like, Simba, remember who you are.
So what does that mean? That's right. That's the meat. No, that's the point right there. That was his big arc. So what does that mean?
Yeah, that was his big moment. What does it mean to you, man?
What does it mean to me? I'm asking you guys.
Yeah,
I mean, I could give my take on it, but like, I don't know. I want to hear what you guys say first. Well, sure, fine, I'll go first. So for me, like the way I saw it, right? He was guilty and felt everything. But when it's like you got that like crazy vision or whatever of his father in the clouds, the one thing that like stuck in my mind was like how Simba was saying, how can I go back, right? Because of like what I become or whatever, But his father was like saying you are more than what you become. Look inside yourself. Right? So Simba was living a lie. What he was doing and how he was acting and like Hakuna Matata life, that's not who he is. That's just what he became. But like reluctant means something that is in you, right? If you're put in a situation, that might be a little different. Like Simba was like he was kind of forced into it or sort of pushed into it.
If you don't have a will to do it, then that's most likely like you're reluctant. You just don't. You kind of like pause before doing it, but you do it anyway because X reason. But you didn't initially want to do it.
What is X? Is it the mentor?
I mean, if you're referring to like the hero's journey structure, yeah. Generally it's that, but it can be more abstract than that.
It could be a life event on the hero. I mean, the mentor probably like something that he taught the hero like as they were training, but like
Look at here, Goku. This is how you do this. Like,
yeah, you
some
know,
shit like
like,
this. I mean, okay, so like, let's go back, like mentor, right? Like,
Yeah.
I see
Okay.
that.
Here's like a quote that I really like, from the Matrix. And since like Matrix Resurrections just like came out recently, I'm like reminded of it. The Morpheus is kind of like the one that has to, push Neo out of the Matrix into the real world, which actually happens to be his special world because his ordinary world he's used to is the Matrix, like the fake world. But yeah, I really like what he says is like, I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. So ultimately, it's still up to the hero. They have to like still get through that.
Yeah, I like that. That's true. The door's here.
Yeah. So while that mentor or like whoever or whatever that's pushed them,
Literally push them.
yeah. While they are like key to it, and it's still still have to take that leap.
Have you guys ever felt some kind of reluctancy? I have. I mean, for sure. Like I felt like I'll give my example of like college, right? Like I was in college for a bit, but I wasn't there for like I didn't really do anything. Like I was just like doing to the classes, but what is the point? What am I looking for? What am I trying to like specifically, laser in? And I was like, nah. I said nah, and then I went traveling, trying to find like just learning jobs. But like, I don't know. I mean, is that a failed arc? Because I never entered the uni world. I never entered I never went to the gate, bro. Mortius was like, "This is college door," and I'm like, "I'm good."
You have to like everyone in freaking like California in high school. Your teachers are like, I can only show you the door to college. You have to.
a lot of people opt out. A lot of people just don't want to go to the Matrix. They fuck this shit.
Because I mean, like you were saying, you're checking out, and then you're like decide not to go. So for that journey, it ended, but another beginning, was found for you.
Yeah.
You went on another journey.
Yeah, I went on a different path.
So then from there, it's like, what was like the call to action there that you had to face the difficult choice to continue pursuing the next path, which you had your options of continuing or being reluctant or refusing, right? So it wasn't after that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I went through that arc of like, am I fucking up? Like, what am I doing with my life? Right, like that kind of thing. Because I was doing just day-to-day jobs or like learning different things. Like, because I had friends, right? He was like, oh, here's the dude who does like pool service. Oh, here's the dude who does construction. Oh, here's the dude who does painting. Oh, here's whatever. Like and then through them I would meet other people with, like similar kind of trades. So I was just learning things. Just learning how to do this. Not good at it, but I learned things. So, but then that's drifting, right? And that just led to more drifting for me personally, because then I just kept going like, oh, okay. Once I was able to just hoard enough money, because like some of these jobs paid well, you did like the job well enough or whatever, and then yeah, I went around traveling, and then I would go and same thing. Like let's say for example, I had a friend in Santa Cruz telling me, blah blah. I have another friend out there in Riverside. You want to go help him out? Sure, blah blah. I go over there. Oh, this guy from Riverside sent me. Oh, this guy doing over there in Santa Paula, blah blah. Just like different city, different mentor. Then I go there. I go there, stay in a hotel or whatever, and then learn, and then continue from there. And then I just get further and further out from California, or further in California. Like going up to like the Bay Area, or going down. Or going out the state. Yeah, because like how so many people, right? You can imagine, didn't live doing what they wanted to do, and then died. Right. So the thing about it though, also, right, is like situations also put you in that, and it can force you to never be able to live out the thing you want to do. Because like you got to get out of the shoreline, so out of the safety net, something out there is not it's out there, not in the safety. The reluctancy though, you know, like if anyone else out there, they feel this kind of thing, how do you overcome it? Or are you like, do you feel stuck like I felt? You know, if you do, I would say maybe try looking at it like a challenge. It works for me. You fail all the time in a game, don't you? Like, because that's the point. You get all these infinite chances until like you're like, I'm bored of this, or like, this game is way too hard. I'm done with this one.
I think it's the journey, like wherever you're taking in your journey, kind of like
exactly.
And then the I guess it's kind of reluctant to like backtrack, because now you look at this path.
Reload your last save.
Yeah.
Reload your last save, and that's
the thing
it.
about life is you still you know, your body still move forward. Your mind can restart, but your body be like, yo, next age. There's no going back to being 15.
If only that was the case, I would just reload to back then. That would be freaking amazing. So much last time, just like, all right, you know what? Fuck.
Nah, fuck that, dude. Because like, think about it, right? What does that mean? Well, like, if we were saying a time travel sense, people are thinking like, oh, me go back, but with my brain now, right? But your brain now only exists because of what happened to you from this time, from that time.
I wouldn't want my current brain. Like, I would like the idea of like
Frankenstein me and give me a new one.
No, not Frankenstein. But you know how sometimes they do like the whole time travel thing where you leave yourself like a time capsule or time, like, you know, where you write a note in somewhere, you leave it buried, you know, somewhere in your happy place as a kid, you know, and then you go in and then you find this like thing.
Sure. Yeah, there's a story like that out there. Yeah.
Okay. And then then you find it as a kid, like, you know, it's like you don't know who sent it, but like it makes sense to you for some reason.
The fuck? Bro, what are you trying to say? What would you leave behind to your younger self to motivate you or whatever?
Like, sometimes I can't pinpoint off the dome right now like a story that
you
goes
give him a
exactly
notebook
like that.
Notebook of like, what would you? Like, what are you're trying to say? Like, you would leave yourself?
Are you gonna try to be your own mentor?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're your own mentor.
Could you even do?
So then,
like, leave clues to yourself, you know? Like,
yeah, because when people think about like going back and changing, I feel like it's like, wouldn't that person in the past be reluctant to do these things?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. You like. That's why I wouldn't think about like taking my own brain with it, because then you would still
Whose
like,
brain would you swap?
No, I'm not saying like whose brain would you swap. Like, I'm talking about like current present day you going back and like doing all these things, you know, exactly the way you want them to be, you know. Like, I feel it's a little bit less I don't know. I feel like it's a little less natural to unveil that way, because when you plant in all your experiences and ideas at the moment, you know, I feel like it's too much to bear for your younger self to go through. You know, I just feel like it's that way.
Okay, but what would you do, like, specifically? Let's say you're an anime, right? And this is your anime. What would you leave behind? Is what I'm curious. What would younger Carlos be motivated to do if your older Carlos is like living a life like, I'm not the Red Ranger though?
Knowing me, I would leave, you know, like a small like package, you know, a small package of like utensils to work on a new computer and instructions to build it. like I would literally give myself the idea to build this thing.
But what would
To take
make
interest
you motivated? Like, what would you know yourself better than anyone else, right?
Because I've always liked the idea of like putting things together. It's like growing up, I had like a lot of Legos and whatnot.
Okay. But
Yeah.
okay, but what I'm saying is like, are you trying to say that life prevented you from encountering this passion earlier in life?
Like,
So now
Like,
if I go back in time and I put myself or I give myself these tools in life, then I would naturally gravitate to it? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like, especially growing up for me, like everything that you get implanted to, you get turned to, you're like more than likely is a byproduct of what your parents want out of you. So like all your parents
Okay.
tell you, well, at least back then, like give you all these conventional methods of like becoming something in the world. They never tell you anything other than what you already know, you know. So like they always say the same things: become a lawyer, become a doctor, become an engineer, become, you know, like some sort of professional. But they never encourage what you actually like doing as a kid, because I feel like you always gravitate towards the thing.
You might
you're
not
a
know
kid, you're at your
what you want as a kid, though.
when you're
I mean, some
a
people
kid,
don't even know what. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted. What the fuck?
well, as a kid, you're
Still didn't,
much
even in
more.
college.
I feel as a kid, you're much more genuine about what you want to do, because you can literally like they'll give you anything, and they tell you like, when you do this, I don't want that, you know, because you immediately don't resonate with it. You immediately don't take an interest into it. You know, it's like kids that read automatically, like because it interests them. That's something genuine. That's something that you wanted to do.
That's something.
You know,
Yeah,
you know, like
I can see it. You know, I mean, kids are honest in that sense because, like, I don't like sushi. You know,
Yeah.
they'll tell you.
they'll tell you straight up, you know, like what they want and what they don't want. You know, it's like
Okay.
discipline is a nice thing to have, but at the same
Whoa.
time, when you get
You just gave me a thought,
implanted-
though. You just gave me a thought, though. Because, like, all right, check this out, right? So,
Uh-huh.
like, you want cake as a kid, let's say.
Yeah.
But situation don't let you have cake. What you do? Expectation versus reality, right? You get slapped with life. Cake cannot always be given. So you learn.
Right.
You learn this restriction, right? But like, let's say cake can always be given. Cake is always in my hand. Then you'll never learn that boundary, right? That mentality or whatever. That thing that stops you from thinking I can never have cake. I always have cake. Cake is always with me.
Like,
Does that make sense? I don't know.
yeah.
You know what I'm
You're
trying to
talking
say?
about like you're talking about always getting exactly what you want and not learning, you know, not learning
That you
what
can't always
essence-
get it, right? And then like
Well,
in life, when you
yes.
grow up, you know, like you're saying, your parents want this from you, you know, or whatever, but you wanted X and Y. And either because your parents want this thing for you, so your life and your vision for your life is going this direction, you're like not looking at this other thing, right? Or you never knew that other thing existed that you could pursue.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, discipline is a good thing to have. You know, like your parents can guide you. That's fine. But when your parents implant you with something, it's no longer guiding you. They're implanting you with an idea,
Okay.
an expectation. You know, so that's where I say that's the limit as far as parenting goes. Like you should guide your child. Like, yeah, you know, like don't just eat cake all the.
But are you saying like they implanted you, or like they had an expectation?
Yeah,
I feel like
'cause,
some
like,
people feel like can relate to that.
Yeah, because like that's basically what it was. Like my parents never told me anything beyond the conventional, you know, growing up and having some sort of career. You know, like my parents always told me, like, you know, go to school, study, and make sure. Not even like, oh, if you like it, go ahead, try it. Like, no, it was more of like, make sure that you get an education so that way you could become one of these things. You know, it's like freaking choose your. It's like freaking Pokemon. You only got to choose in between the first 3 starters. What if that's not what you like? You know?
What if you play the whole game with just the starter?
And you were forced to just keep that one starter, you know? Like you never branched out.
Yeah.
You never knew what you were good at, you know? That kind of thing. So it's like they give you these implanted ideas like this is the only thing that you can do. These are your only options.
Why? I mean, well, like, why would they do that? I don't get it.
Well, the reason behind it is because a lot of I don't want to overgeneralize it to just poor parents because I think it's any unfulfilled parent really, like they feel like their child should just should just find something that they find to be substantiary, you know, like they think that they could live off of for like the rest of their life.
They just want to see you succeed
and feel fulfilled, you know. And in reality, what you're telling your child is basically like whatever I give you, you know, is what's going to make you happy. And a lot of people go through their entire life thinking that way, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying like if
it's pushed to 200%, it kind of is.
Yeah, it really fucks with you. It really does. So
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it might be a different perspective too. Like maybe not necessarily so selfish, so that they can feel fulfilled, or that they can live off of you, or whatever.
No.
I mean, sometimes that's like the tradition, right? But it could also be because they've experienced these hardships, so they want you to empower yourself as much as you can, and build that educational, build that education, get that knowledge, and use that as capital, as a way so that you can have a better chance at life. So they want the best for you.
They want you to surpass them at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Naturally. So to speak.
Naturally, right? I mean, I'm still just curious though, like, cause like, it just makes more sense to me, right? Like what you're saying though, what would you give yourself? Because it sounds to me like, you know, even if you give yourself these exposure to like, hey, you like playing the piano, but you never had a piano. Here's a piano, kid. Right? Like it's still gonna be a thing of like, does that kid want to actually do it? Even if it is you and you say you know yourself, but like still, don't you know yourself and be like, there's so many other temptations? Girls, games, friends. You really want to give yourself 1, 2, 3, 8 hours of practice of doing the piano? You know what I mean? Like that's still a thing that you have to overcome, right? Even if you like expose yourself to this thing that you like now as an adult.
It's like,
I don't know, man. But then that's me, right? Because like I can't think of a damn thing that I would give myself to be like, get me where I am here. The only reason I'm here is because of the experiences I've learned.
Well, that's the thing. It's because you know yourself that you'll give yourself the one thing that you know that's going to pique your interest, you know? Like, looking back on it, it's actually pretty funny. Because I learned how to play the drums, not because I was interested in learning how to play the drums, but because I found them very intriguing. Like, all these, like, things that you could set up, you know? Like, set up cymbals, hi-hats, tom-toms, you know? And, like, the way you could tune them, like, the way you tuned them was so abstract to me. You had these tuning keys, like, around the skin of the drum head, you know? It's like, that's how you get sound. Like, that's what intrigued me so much about it. It wasn't so much to, like, become a musician. It was, like, the technicality of it. So, like, you know, like... But once you learned everything that you needed to learn about the instrument itself, like I kind of like grew out of it. I was like, that was it. That was all there is to learn from it. Yeah,
That was
like
at a limit. Then.
yeah, like it was limited to like the components of that thing. And what I like about computers, and like even still now, is the fact that there's always something new being added to these machines. You know, it's like stuff that we didn't have like 10 years ago.
We're moving towards the Mass Effect world, one day at a time.
Yeah. That's what like intrigued me when this guy was.
Sightseer.
That's like all these things. I was just like, oh shit.
Hold on. I'm still okay. You're clearly passionate. I can see and hear this, right? But then I'm just a little curious. Then why do you say you don't know yourself or whatever?
In terms of like what I do for a living and what I like to do, they don't connect. They don't connect. They don't connect in respect to like my current job and position. I'm pretty sure that if I not gave into the fear and start all over again, you know, forget my responsibilities as an adult and as, you know, and as somebody in my job, you know, like being this figure at work and also at home, providing food and shelter. Like,
well, that's not reluctancy, right? That's all the fear. You're talking about the fear.
It's the fear. Yeah, that's the fear. You know, like reluctant to like leave that life behind because, well, that's all you know at the moment.
Right. So you're afraid of the unknown.
I'm afraid of instability.
That's Wait, is
not
that the
really
unknown?
Well, the unknown could be several things, but instability in general, like just knowing that you're not for sure. Nothing is structured. Nothing has a plan. That's what's scary.
You've never been in that situation?
No.
Damn.
I've always put myself in a situation where there's at least some sort of plan.
Wow. I don't know this life. I know both life actually. Because I'm like 100% the opposite of that. Because I've gone many times better not know like this. Right? We do this show. I just show up and I start talking with you guys. Sometimes, right? Like, I mean, I tried preparing something one time and I was like, oh, you know, this actually wasn't that working. this works better. This is a lot better, more fun, more free, right?
So yeah, next time the topic is kind of more on like the various challenges that you would have to like overcome to build up over time, like those skills to be able to take on that final boss.
Yeah, the first stage, or like this stage of
like the different quests and trials and tribulations that you encountered that made you stronger, gave you special items, skills. Like, you know, you leveled up and got the skill and you're like, oh damn, I'm ready now. Like,
they drop loot.
Talk about that next time. So, yeah, thank you guys for sharing your stories with me, and whoever listens to this,
share with us your stories. Tell us what you guys think about this. You feel the same way? Is there something in your life reluctant to do, overcome? How you did it? Let us know.
Yeah, shine a new light on us.
Yeah.
Never know. Might learn something new ourselves.
I think that's a solid good one right there, boys. Good energy. And we'll catch you all later. Have fun. I just took the cake, bro. Nothing stopped me. No one stopped me. That was the problem. That was my problem. No one gave me the boundaries of social, no one just stopped it. So I never learned. So I make foolish mistakes sometimes.